What's up everyone and welcome to the club. In today's video we're drawing the Colossal Titan from Attack on Titan. To begin today's lesson, we want to start by adding some guidelines to help with the symmetry and balance of our drawing. So let's start at the very top in the center. Let's sketch a line coming down the center of our page. Just going to lightly work our way down towards the bottom. Now along the top, we're going to draw another line going across from left to right. Now these two lines are going to help us create a circle on the top of our page. Now right where these two lines meet is going to be the center point of our circle. So from the center, let's step up towards the top. It's going to mark off the top of our circle. Take that same distance down towards the bottom. So right about here, I'm going to mark that off. Now you want to repeat that across this horizontal line. So taking that distance over towards the left and then the right side. Now I'm going to connect the center of each point with a curve to create our circle. Now I'm going to start with the top left, and the circle doesn't have to be perfect. We can just rough this in. I can go back and just smooth this out. Now this is just a guide to help us with the size of the head. From the side of our circle, we're going to draw another line coming all the way down towards the bottom. And we want to make sure that the distance between the top is the same across the bottom. Now the circle is going to represent the top of the head. So we're going to place the eyes along the bottom. So down here, just sketch another line going across from left to right. Let's add a gap in between the eyes. So from the center of our circle, step over towards the left, sketch a line coming all the way down towards the bottom. Let's take that distance over towards the right. Now from here, we start blocking out the basic facial features. Let's start by adding the inside of the brow. So from this point, angle this up and in towards the center. Do the same thing on the right to create a triangle in the center of the forehead. Now I'm going to move up along the bottom of the circle to right about here. Draw a straight line going out. Let's line that up over on the right. And then from the outside of this line, we're going to step in, curve the bottom of the eye. We're going to come down, round out the eye, and just pull that up along the inside. Now in the center, we're going to step all the way down. Just going to mark off the bottom edge of the nose with a straight line going across from left to right. And then from that center point, angle the nose going up and out towards the side. Let's go back to the outside of the eyes. We're going to angle the head, coming down and then in towards the jaw. Now I want to take the distance between the eyes and the tip of the nose and duplicate that across the bottom of the chin. Let's angle the jaw, coming down and then in towards the chin. Now because we're tilting the head forward, the ears are going to sit up a little bit higher. So up on the left side, angle the ear going up and out. Line that up on the right. Come straight down the side. And then angle this down and then in towards the side of the jaw. And then we're going to place the top of the shoulders in behind the head. From the bottom of the ear, angle the shoulders coming down and out. Now we're going to add some guides for those bones inside the head. Just underneath the nose, let's bend this out and then down towards the left side of the chin. Bend this out and down towards the right. Along the bottom, add a curve coming down and then up. Let's go to the side of the nose, angle this down and then out towards the side. And we'll angle this up and out towards the outside of the eye lines. And then from here, it's going to angle this down and out towards the side of the jaw. Let's go back up to the eye line, angle this up and in, and go up and then out. Now we're going to connect the jaw with a curve coming down towards the middle and then back up. And this is where the teeth will sit. Now that we have a rough sketch in place, let's go back and lightly erase some of these guidelines. Now from here, we just want to double check our proportions and balance of our drawing. And if everything looks good, we're going to go in and add a second level of detail. Let's start by adding some shape to the brow. Just going to bend this around and up. And add a fold going out and up across the top of the brow. Now it's going to work our way across the top edge of the brow on the left. It's going to go around just going to smooth out that point and just come down the side. I'm just going to go back and forth between the left and right side to help balance this out. Now we're going to blend into the bone, coming around and in towards the cheeks. I'm just going to leave that fold along the side to help give our drawing a little bit of depth. And we're just going to add that nose piece. And you can see that I'm not going too dark. I want to still leave an opportunity to go back and readjust if we need to. I'm going to go back and just layer the eye inside. I'm going to tuck the iris and pupil underneath the eyelid along the top. So we're just going to add this in lightly just to get the right position. Come back and darken that up after. Now working our way around the outside of the bone, around the temples. Now I'm just going to modify the shape of the bone underneath the nose. So we'll go a little bit wider along the side. I'm just going to bring the chin down a little bit further on the bottom, just tucking that in underneath that bottom bone. It's going to draw the top edge of the mouth, just following that curve that we created at the beginning, going out towards the side, and trace out the bottom. And now we're just going to separate the teeth with these vertical lines. Now we're just working our way up towards the top. Now you can see that we layered the bone on top of the head. So we're just sitting this underneath and just tucking it under. And go back and add some shape to the ears. Just add that bone across the shoulders. I'm going to go back and clean up our drawing one more time. And now we're ready to go back and trace out our contours and add some contrast. So we're going to start with the inside of the eyes, just adding some more folds in between. And just working our way across. Now as we go, we can continue to add some more detail. So I'm going to add a little fold along the top of the brow, across the bone, and working our way towards the outside. I'm just going to darken up the inside of the eye. Now with the teeth, we're just going to round out the top of the gum line in between each of the lines, and then just working our way across underneath that bone, and then continue up along the side. I'm just going to extend the teeth coming down from each of those points. Now round out the bottom of the gum line. And we're just going to separate the teeth in the center. And now we're just going to add those folds inside the ear. Starting with a curve along the top, we step back and just fold the back side in underneath. And just continue along the bottom and in. Let's go back and add a small highlight half circle along the bottom of each iris. And then along the top, add a small black circle going in behind that highlight for the pupil. I'm just going to lightly shade in the outside of the iris, going in behind that highlight. And now we're going to add those muscle fibers inside the skin. So starting underneath the eye, I'm just going to pull these lines, adding a slight bend towards the inside. I'm going to vary up the length as well. And as you go out towards the cheek, we're going to bend this in. And then from the bottom, we're going to work our way up. So with this technique, you can see that we create a little bit of a highlight in the center of the cheekbones. And I repeat that inside each of the skin areas. Just adding shorter lines. And then from the side of the head, we're going to pull this down and in. And then from the center of the neck, we're going to go straight down. And as we go out to the side, we're just going to bend this down and then in. And then from the shoulder line, going up and around. Now, as you go to the outside, we're sort of aiming up towards this top corner. And then for the top, working our way down. Let's add some shading to the flesh. We're going to start with the cheekbones. We're going to start off darker along the bottom. Just going to lightly work our way across, and then fade that up as you get in towards that highlight. And do the same thing on the right. Now darkening up the top, just underneath the eyes, and then fading that down. Now let's add that shadow on the outside. And around. And then that nose is going to cast a shadow along the side. Now we can use the side edge of our pencil to add a little bit more thickness to those textures. Let's do the same thing across the side. So darken up the inside edge, and we'll fade that out towards the highlight. Let's darken up those textures, and then doing the same thing on the right. Now here's where we want to create a consistent direction for our shadows. So we want to imagine that the light's coming from the top left side of our page, going across our character. So the highlights will sit along the top left side and the shadows in the opposite direction. Just darken up the right side of the jaw and chin, and then fade that across. Also darkening up the bottom. And we're also going to add a shadow across the teeth on the right, and then gradually fade that out towards the left. Now the head's going to cast a shadow across the body. So we're going to angle this down and out. It's going to darken up the top and then fade that down. Darken up some of those fibers across the shoulders. And now we're going to add some shadows inside the bone areas. So we start on the inside of the flap of the ear, starting off dark along the top, and then just fading that down. Do the same thing on the right. Now the head's going to cast a shadow over that right ear, so we're just going to darken up the outside. And I'm going to add some shadows across the bottom edge and the right side. Just want to fade that up towards the top, and then darken up the bottom. Just darken up the shadow on the right side of the nose. And the nose is also going to cast a shadow across the top of the mouth. We're just going to shift this over towards the right. I'm going to go back and darken up the right side and then fade that in as you go across towards the left. Let's add a core shadow on the left side, just along the inside edge of the head. And we'll lightly shade in the right side of that core shadow and then fade that in. And this is going to help give the head a little bit more shape. Now I'm going to go back and add a few fine details, some cracks across that bone. And a little bit of cross hatching inside. Now I'll finish off our drawing by adding a little bit more detail, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of the Colossal Titan from Attack on Titan. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please make sure you subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single week. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.